It is our first official episode with a guest of Momcult Season 4. And Sarah is going to introduce our guest for you guys today.
Our guest today, whoa, am I blaring? Am I blaring to you?
Yeah, the mic still has that weird, I don't know what it is.
Okay, our guest today is a lovely lady, originally from Memphis, Tennessee. She is the eldest of three, a new mom, with what we guess is a wilder birth story than yours, and a very supportive wife. She holds a master's degree in healthcare informatics, which, as I understand it, is the use of information technology to educate the public, which makes sense because I've noticed that she has an educator energy in a really positive and warm way. And on that same coin, she considers herself to be a student of life, always willing to learn. Welcome, Angealic Parson.
So glad to be here.
We've been wanting to have you on for a year, so I'm really excited. Really excited, actually, since you had a baby.
Yeah, and do you want to tell the backstory of where this is where our job comes into play too?
Oh, we know we met because we both work with your husband, DeVario at Camel Express, and we've gotten to know you guys through that, and y'all are like, just like I was saying on the way in, I always like disclaim about deferred maintenance on our house, but particularly with y'all because you appear like very together, organized, like beautiful. It's outside stuff, as I would say to Parker, but beautiful, lovely people. So
we open the closets in your house.
Yeah, what's that like?
What are the closets?
I feel like they're really
like?
organized.
They are organized.
Yeah, help me. That's what I'm saying. Let's just stop. Help me.
I mean, they get unorganized sometimes, but we go back and organize them.
Can't handle it for too long.
I knew it. Yeah. So it's apparent. It's a good thing.
I really heard of you guys right when I started at Camel. It wasn't too long after that a lot of the things we were doing at Camel were surrounding you and DeVario's experience. But before we get into your birth story, did you grow up always knowing you wanted a family?
Yes. I grew up in a single parent home, so I only had my mom. And there were things that I knew I did not want to do or go through. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be married because we didn't have a man in the household. And so everything that came with marriage. So there's children, that's the big house with the white picket fence. I wanted it all. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to experience other people. So yeah, I always knew that I wanted to be a mom.
Yeah. Being the oldest, were you kind of the second parent of the house sometimes with your younger siblings?
Definitely. Yes.
What's the age spread?
Yeah.
So I am 31. I will be 32 this month.
So fresh, so young.
Happy almost birthday.
Thank you. My brother he's 29. He will be 30 in November. And my sister is 26.
Okay,
Gotcha.
so pretty close
together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we both have a really large spread between our siblings closest to us, and we're both the babies. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And one of the things I thought was that you also come across as very confident, and I think that's like eldest child energy, but having a less of a spread between the ages and being the parental figure with those siblings, I feel might be even more difficult than having an 11-year-old or like sibling that can, step in as the second parent. So I know how was that? How's your relationship now with your siblings?
I have a decent relationship with my siblings. I love them. They are very opinionated people. I guess so am I too. Our perspectives sometimes differ. But other than that, they're pretty cool people. Yeah.
I really put you on the spot with that. That wasn't one of our
Yeah, they're cool
questions.
people. Yeah.
Did you, at that age, enjoy being able to help your mom in that way? Like see her struggling and being able to step up to the plate? Or did it feel like this is just expected of me and there's some resentment, or obviously it can be a combination of both?
Probably a combination of both, but I would probably have to say it was something I did not want to do because I didn't know how to do it. I'm not a mom. I'm just a sister. I'm an older sister, but I was placed in a position where I didn't know my father. My other two siblings, they share the same father. I have my own father, but their father was there, but then he left. My mom has never been married before, so this was like a real single parent household with 3 children. And so I just wanted to be a kid, like a teenager, a young adult. When I graduated from high school and basically on my way to college, I was so excited. I was so excited to go. I was, get me out of here now, please. Nothing against them. It was just
that's understandable.
my own found freedom.
Yeah, the experiences you didn't get that you'd been staving off are finally around the corner.
Yes, I was so excited to go to college. Even though I stayed at home, I stayed in Memphis. I attended the University of Memphis, but I lived on campus and it still felt like I was far away.
Yeah. Did you feel like you got the experience that you wanted or that you needed?
Yes, I do. It was still hard because I had to navigate a lot of stuff that parents probably had already taught them while they were in the home. So everything that I learned came from college. That's like being social, knowing how to communicate with different type of people. And so that came when I entered college.
Wow. Reparenting that part of, that's interesting. I haven't thought about that and that, like, coming from that position, but I feel like I'm doing that now in a lot of ways. And that's a lot for an 18-year-old. Or were you 18 when you went to school? Yeah. And at that point, though, did you come out of high school being like, I know I want to have kids, but I want this break? Do you know what I mean? You weren't like in a rush, obviously, but...
No, I was not in a rush. When I graduated high school,
Still not.
I was actually, it was a lot of pressure. I felt like it was a lot of pressure on me, but then again, I was appreciative to have that pressure because my mom never really graduated high school. So this thing is pretty deep for me. So graduating high school was a big deal, especially for my granddad, rest in peace. He was so excited for me to walk across the stage and then for me to go to college and then graduate college. It was a big deal. It was like a generational curse in a sense, because people in my family, people wasn't really graduating high school and then let alone going to college and actually getting that college experience and then graduating also from college. So I had a lot of pressure, but it was good pressure because I felt like, okay, it has to end. And if it ends with me, that's awesome.
Yeah. Did he get to see you?
He did. He got to see me graduate from high school, college, and get married. And then he died, I think, 2 years later. Yeah.
What's his name?
His name is Elmer Fox.
Oh, what a good name.
That is a really good name.
Yeah.
I'm taking it. You can now call me.
So you went to school for healthcare informatics. What does that mean? I read about it, but what were you intending to do with it? And I'm just curious about this. It may not even be something you...
That is a good question. Yeah. Growing up, I've always wanted to be a pediatrician. Oh. So I was on that road. So after University of Memphis, I was like, you know what? I did an internship in Memphis at University Health Science Center of Tennessee. And I was like, well, let me go back and get my prereqs in biology to even take the MCAT and all of that good stuff. And so I attended Alcorn for a semester and realized I did really well. I just realized that this is not me. And at this point, it was between MTSU and Meharry. So I had to make a choice because I instantly got into MTSU and I chose MTSU. So I don't know. It was just one of those things where, you know what? I was like, technology is taking over. I love healthcare. I do want to have universal healthcare in the United States of America one day. I don't know if it's going to happen, but wishful thinking. So it was just, it's a cross between healthcare and tech.
Yeah, it seems like a smart, like something you're interested in mixed with, this is where the future is heading. So it would be smart to just know how to use some of these tools.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at some point in one of my courses, I learned to code, but the coding was very elementary. So I didn't really get like the intricate learning with coding. I wish I did, but I didn't. But other than that's how I got into healthcare.
Yeah, I knew it was smart, but I didn't know like the angle from which it was smart. So there you go. Very smart.
Devario also happened to mention on the work retreat that we just took that you do have a creative side that you just don't let out very often. And I would like to know more about that.
At least publicly.
Yeah.
Yes. I love my creative side. I want to tap more into my creative side. Actually, I love artsy things. I love drawing. Still life, though. Still life things. I love fashion. I just love it. I love red carpets. I love Essence. I just love it all. Yeah. Oscars. What else?
He said that you, and this is also, we're just going to endlessly put you on the spot. That's will be the whole thing. It's just
welcome.
That you illustrate, and that maybe you had been like working on some kids videos or like kicking around that idea or something. Is that anything you'd feel okay talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So as of lately, I would probably have to go back to high school, me wanting to be a pediatrician, children in that arena, writing books, illustrating books. As of lately, I have been illustrating different small, short children videos, like alphabets and numbers and graphics and things like that. And I find so much joy in doing so. So much joy in doing so. And I don't know where it would take me. It's just something that I like doing to just take my mind off. Yeah. Whatever. But
do you feel like it like steers you in more of like early childhood education, like where you can taking out the science health side of pediatrics, but like sticking with the kids and adding in kind of the fun creative side?
I never thought about that.
It's time to get a new degree.
I see. Oh. With a child, I'm like, good luck. It's possible.
No, I think you can just do that.
Just do it anyway.
Yeah.
Who needs a degree anymore?
That's what we're here also to do, is just brainstorm. But do you put those out? Is it something that other people can look at?
Oh, I haven't put them out yet.
Okay, cool. Okay, we're excited about that. Yeah, Parker's still not fully recognizing all his letters. I'm like,
he needs your videos.
Yeah. I'm like, this is...
But you know what? I'm so hard on myself because I want them to be clear for the children to understand and pick up. And I do know with children, I'm learning with my own son, Dawson, that repetition is so important. And if I say good morning every day and say, hey, buddy, repeat good morning, or this is every day. And so I made up a good morning song, because a lot of times you put a little tune to things, they start to catch on to it quicker.
Oh, yeah.
Repetition is...
both my girls were obsessed with Daniel Tiger. And that's what they do, is it's all these just these quick little songs, and Penny will sing them all the time. So they're still like, when you have to go potty, stop and go right away. She does that one all the time. And then another super helpful one is she's way more attached than my older one was. So anytime Jeremy's leaving for work or going to the grocery store, or anytime anybody's walking out the door, she's very aware and not happy about it. And just the little... grown-ups come back. I can sing that to her and she'll sing it back, and it like legitimately will help diffuse that transition. It's wild how much those little jingles are effective.
The singing thing, I didn't know that was a thing. My friend Sarah Silva said that's like a part of the whole Waldorf method of education, is like singing through every transition. So like she always is, even when she's irritated, she's like singing something, and I'm like, wow, that's like way better than yelling.
That's how I would learn. I would memorize a lot of stuff that way in school, like
singing?
Putting it to music. Yeah. And then I would learn it so much faster, or retain it quicker.
Yeah. My nephew, he's in kindergarten now. And so he couldn't spell out his name. And so I just made a song to it. And so his name is Carter. And I was like, just say Karter with a little clapping after every letter. And he got it. Yeah. And so I'm like, just make a tune out of it.
Just make a tune, moms. Just make a tune.
That's the key.
We should do check-ins, and then we can start with your pregnancy and Dawson's story. Sarah, how was your week?
The last time we recorded, I was beginning to get sick. Now I'm, over that. I've been on antibiotics for 3 days, just to be clear. But it's just like the end of I don't know.
Yeah, it's been long.
Allergies that turned into like an infection internally or whatever. So I think when I saw y'all at the fair, this is not fascinating content, but there you go. That's been like my 2 weeks. We went to visit my dad. We saw manatees. Like, we got to kayak with him. It was an ill-advised trip that we had to move because of hurricanes in Florida, and just Parker and I went. And I didn't really feel like going, and I wanted to see my dad, and we have a good time there, but it was just not good timing, really, because it was like before school that we booked it, and then school had started, but I was like, okay, we're going to go for 4 days or whatever. And I don't know, we both got to see a lot of stuff, and he got some one-on-one time.
You're glad you did it?
Yes. Yeah. I'll be paying the price for it through various stressors for the next several weeks, but it's fine. And he enjoyed it, and he got to see, we went scalloping, which, by the way, is like, it feels like you're a mermaid, like a real, like you just, like it's in north central Florida, so it's not like where everybody knows about, or generally speaking, but it's swampy, but it's like really beautiful, weirdly. And if you're from there, I'm sorry, I'm making it sound like, I don't know what I'm making it sound like, but it's lovely. And it looks like the most cartoonish scallops come in, the most cartoonish, like a perfect visual of a shell, like a mermaid shell, and they're just sitting on the bottom of the ocean, and you like pick them up and put them in and it's like clear water. It's crazy.
The video you sent me, that water was crazy clear.
It's really pretty.
It's really pretty.
It was good.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, it was worth it. But a solo parent trip always is interesting. Yeah. Although we've done that a lot over the years, because sometimes Eric's stuff is, or if he's got somebody in the studio, he just can't leave, and this has gone on too long. But my point is, we are really good travel companions, Parker and I, and he like becomes my little partner dude on trips. We have this different dynamic that's really fun. So that was good.
Yeah. Angelique, how's your week?
I can't even think about my week. So much go on with a little 12-month-old. If I have to sum it up, my week has been pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm normally in the house with Dawson, and what are we doing? We're walking. We're taking nature walks here and there just to get him going, because if I don't, he will swarm himself in the curtains and bump into the walls. So that's really it. Loving on Dawson. Waiting till Daddy come home.
Yeah. Do the days run together? Do you get overwhelmed do you get stir crazy being at home, or do you feel like you're pretty good at keeping your day structured in a way that feels like you had a day? I feel like when they're that age, sometimes time is, I don't know, goes slow and fast at the same time.
Yeah. For me, this is a roller coaster one, because some days I got it, and some days I do not. I just don't have it at all. Mm-hmm. And I think about working. Oh, I have to work, because I see my husband, Navario, he goes to work, and hey, good morning. It's time for me to go to work. And he's just so happy going to work. And then I love Dawson. I love my son. But it's like, I want to be happy today. I want to go to work. Just a little break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little break. We have no family here. So we haven't had a break. We haven't had date night and things like that. So it's just been my husband and Dawson and I.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. You can get lost in there pretty easy. And it seems like everything can be, like nothing can be wrong. Everything can be going fine. And then that lostness feels even more, there's something wrong with me that I'm feeling this way, because nothing bad is happening, but I feel like I'm drowning somehow in the repetition of the day-to-day and wanting to be present with your kid all the time. And it's so hard when you don't get that separation from them. I just remember before Penny started like a Mother's Day Out program, and even with Ava too, it's just, I want to miss you. Like, I want the feeling of being excited to get to see you. And I have to have some space in order to have that excited feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was wondering about that you guys are your family unit is the only, you guys are it for each other. And like that, yeah. I wondered if I'm delivering, just cut this.
No, don't. It's really hard, I think is what you want to say.
Yeah.
Is you would like it to feel like that's enough. Mm-hmm. And some days it's not going to be.
Right.
And that's just hard.
Yes. Some days I just want to go to work and miss Dawson.
Right.
And come home and embrace him. But I'm a mother and a new mother. Mm-hmm. I just have to do what I have to do too. At the same time, with no complaint.
You can complain here.
Yeah, that's what, that's what you're here for.
Yep, that's actually what you're here for.
Complaining. Yes. I got it.
Gotta have an outlet.
How was your time, Joy?
My week, I don't know when this will come out. I'll talk more generally. But this week, my oldest just turned 12. And she got her first phone over the summer. And so we've been navigating the boundaries and the rules, and it's been going pretty smoothly. She's not on it too much, whatever. Everything's been pretty much fine. But it's been eating at me for a while. Originally, we had said no group chats unless the original ones that she's had with her best friends, like on her iPad, she can keep that one. And then it just happens so fast. Someone added me to this group chat, and then I'm doing this thing, and so now I'm in this group chat. And so we let her ride it out for a couple months, and then it's not even that anything has really happened. Like, sure, there's some language. There's a couple kids on the thread that I just feel like aren't great influences, but now I'm going to have to be taking something away that she feels like is a lifeline to her social life. And so it's just been weighing on me of like, I know that I feel like I know that this is the best thing for her and for me to do. I just don't want to be the bad guy. So I finally broached it with her this week. I was, hey, I think that I'm going to make you get rid of all of your group chats except for a couple of them. And I'm anxious to tell you that because I know you're going to be upset, which is totally fine. And I know you're going to feel like it's unfair because she hasn't done anything. Mm-hmm. She hasn't done anything. And just trying to, again, in a scenario where I'm like, how do I explain this? How do I explain the bigger picture here without you being like, what? I just want to talk to my friends. And so I really tried to focus on, first of all, you having a phone. You know that this whole thing is about limiting your exposure and us filtering in when you can be exposed to certain things and to new things. And when you have a group chat that all of a sudden 6 other people are in, you now have 6 other avenues of exposure that I don't have any control over. What YouTube video they're going to send you, what picture they're going to send, what text they're going to send. And I can't, and then you add multiple group chats on top of that. And it's just, as the parent, just like a panic. I don't know. It was just starting to make me feel so anxious, even though nothing was really happening yet, just knowing the potential. I don't want something to happen to make me make this decision. I would rather just go ahead and pull the plug. And then the second big thing was, you are too young for this to be how you socialize with your friends. I do not want you thinking that this is the normal way to keep in touch and hang out with people. Like, if I pull this away, then we're going to be forced to have to do more things in person. You're also at the beck and call of other parents too, and hoping that other parents are going to, okay, can we all do this together so that the kids everybody's upset and everyone's forced to hang out more in real life. And anyway, I think that's going to be the next phase of things I'm navigating for a while, just because that's the age that she's at. And then simultaneously being still in like toddler world, and that's a different planet, and balancing those planets. Anyway, she took it well. She tried to take it like a champ and be like, if that's what you guys think is best. But I can feel the anger. And, I just stayed with her and was like, you can say and feel whatever you want. I know it's hard to understand any of this right now, but I really do think it's the best thing to do for you and for me. Anyway, I feel like that was like the theme of my weekend.
It sounds like you handled that perfectly. I'm very anxious having heard it, thinking about.
So I still haven't taken them off yet. Like, she still has them. I'm like giving her the week to be like, however you want to process closure on this. I'm not just going to make you delete them all now. Give you the week. You can talk to your friends. You can let them know what's happening. You can throw me under the bus and be pissed at me and tell your friends how annoyed you are and whatever. And take screenshots of like parts of your favorite. She was like, my favorite thing is like looking back on the conversations. It's like, take some screenshots. Or she's like, it'll take up all my storage.
You have to get a bigger iCloud. That being the problem.
Anyway.
Nice.
All right, back to our guest.
My heart's pounding thinking about that.
That's all right. Transition your anxiety to Angelic's birth story.
I'm just going to hold space for that. I'm just really anxious about phones.
I know. It'll, you know what, by the time you're reaching it, it'll have shifted a little bit too. I think there'll be more, it's going to keep getting better, more information, more tools like that. It has to, because all the parents are desperately pining for those things. And so I'm assuming that the parents themselves will, like, obviously, like Dr. Becky and Jenny, like, we're going to, the generations that
Jenny is Joy's sister who, did she coin the phrase media trauma?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. She's written a book about basically don't have phones around your, like kids don't need phones, like kids not having phones and how important that is.
Yeah. And especially social media too.
Yeah.
Which that one's going to be easy for us. It's going to be like, oh no, absolutely. You just don't get an Instagram until whatever age like that. Ava's not going to know any other rule than that. There's not going to be any, like the group chat, like, I don't know if you can have it. Okay, maybe you can have it. Oh, no, maybe not. Like the learning curve of the social media, we're good because those are, the damage has been done to the previous generation that's going to make us be like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So that's at least nice.
Here's a fun way I've tortured myself 2 ways about this exact topic. Like yesterday we saw some friends who have a kid who's like a year younger than Parker, and he knew how to, like he taught himself how to open the phone, like by watching the code, like he knew how to get into the phone and get to YouTube, and they took YouTube off the phone and Parker doesn't do that at all. And I'm like, I don't want him to do that, but also is that because I'm so controlling that he doesn't feel safe doing that? And I've like, that's like part of his confidence stuff is I'm just like, he's so under my thumb that he can't even open a phone.
No.
So there's no
good.
Winning, you know what I mean? Cool. Anyway,
You're good.
That's fun.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Joy.
Do you have trouble meal planning? Is that a struggle for you?
What?
What's that?
Huh? I do have this. Yeah, no. Yes, I do have that. I have that issue.
Me too. Especially there's like always a one night where we do Blue Apron, but there's always a couple nights a week where we don't have a meal planned. And it's usually a night where we're all trying to eat something together that is affordable and good quality food. And what's a really great solution for that we have for all of you listeners out there?
What?
Is Mr. Aaron's Goods.
Oh, yeah.
And we have an update about Mr. Aaron's, which is that instead of just walking in and picking up your food or getting it delivered, you can actually go in and dine there now. They have new hours. They're open Tuesday through Sunday. You can have fresh pasta, sauces, bagels, schmears, all the specialty goods. They're located at TKO in East Nashville. And they're open 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Weekdays. And then on the weekends, 9 a.m. to noon or until they sell out.
Yeah. That.
You can also still order online. And if you do that, you can use code Momcult for 20% off your entire order.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're the best people.
Yeah. They're amazing. Give them your money and they will give you your sustenance. How was your pregnancy, like in general?
I don't know. I want to walk you guys down a timeline. I think that's just best.
Yeah, do that.
Hit it.
In 2022, Davario and I was celebrating. Oh, I don't want to be wrong because this year we celebrate 5 years. So in 2022, what is that, guys? Three years?
That sounds
okay,
good.
Mm-hmm. So we celebrated my mom's birthday. And then we were doing some traveling, like some small little trips, just him and I, and we celebrated our 3rd anniversary in Hawaii. That was really nice.
Fun.
And we came back the beginning of November and then went to New York. So 2022 was pretty wild for us, but it was so fun. Yeah. And so we went down to Memphis for Thanksgiving and came back home, just rested, kicked it, basically, him and I, and packed again to go back to Memphis for Christmas. But I was feeling a little weird in between that time. And so I took a pregnancy test and I was like, this pregnancy test says I'm pregnant.
But is that what this is supposed to do?
I know. Like, this is a conversation I'm having with myself and the rest of them. And I'm like, hold up. Okay. And so I remember him, he was sweeping and I ran to get him.
Classic Tafaria.
Yeah. I ran to get him. And so I showed him the test. Now, this wasn't a digital one. So he was confused.
Right.
He didn't know what was going on. So I was like, how about this? You go and get the digital one so we could see the words clear as day. Mm-hmm. You and I both
spend the $45 on this for the words.
So he ran out the house and we were in Mount Juliet. So Walmart was nowhere from us. It was literally walking distance. And he got the test. He came back, took the test, said pregnant. And so we were in the kitchen. I can remember like it was yesterday. We were so excited. We were crying, tears of joy. Mm-hmm. We were crying. And at that moment, I didn't know what to do afterwards because I've never been pregnant before. Like never. So before that, the crazy part about it was I had an annual checkup. I don't know if this is TMI, but nope. I had an annual checkup. And it was literally like a week before I found out I was pregnant. I don't know when the conception part took place, but they didn't see anything. And it was just a normal checkup. I was good. Then the next week I found out I was pregnant. I was like, hold up, what's happening?
Yeah.
But I didn't know where to go from there. So I went back to my doctor's office and they drew blood and they seen that what are those levels? HCG levels,
I think so,
were like extremely high, and it was like, "Oh, you're having a baby." And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." The beginning feelings, I was so sick. Mm-hmm. I was so sick in the beginning,
like not nauseous all the time, or were you throwing up?
No,
a decent
I was
amount?
really throwing up.
Oh,
like
man.
I was so sick, and I just was like, "Is this how you're supposed to feel?" Like I was so sick. Everything was so new to me, and I started feeling better probably around 3 months. I started feeling like myself a little bit.
Did you have that panic like I did, where you're like, something must be wrong? Like you get so adjusted to feeling nauseous, and that's how you know everything's going well. And then I feel like second trimester, when I started to feel good, I was like, now how do I know that everything's okay? Like I almost don't feel pregnant anymore, just for a period of time before you start really showing. But
yeah, just a little bit, because I was throwing up a lot and I was sleeping a lot. So when that kind of stopped and settled, I did. I was like, oh, wow, is we okay? I didn't know if it was a boy or girl yet, but I was like, are we fine?
Good?
And y'all, I wanted a little girl so bad. Sorry, Dawson, I love you so much. I wanted a little girl so bad because there was this fear that I had. And it was, I don't know. I'm not a male. I don't know how to raise a little boy. I don't know. It was just this large fear that I had. And I just was like, I cannot do boys. I don't know what to do with a little boy because I'm such a girly girl. And I was like, no. So I found out, I would never forget. I found out March 20th, 2023, that I was having a boy. And I cried
again.
I cried. And my husband, he was right there. He's so sweet. He was right there. He was just rubbing me, consoling me. And he was like, it's going to be okay. You're going to be the best mom for him. And you can still dress him up. You can still dress him up. I mean, you can still have him looking nice and cool. And at that time, I was like, no, you don't understand. I don't know how I'm going to do this with a little boy.
Did you feel that, Sarah?
Yeah, no. I'm sitting here thinking that I felt so confident. Like I thought, oh, like dudes make a lot of sense to me. I really know how I did not know. I had no idea how different we are. And I know now. I've said to you before, I've never liked like poop humor. Anyway, no, I don't. It's very different. I love it. But it is very different than, I don't know what I thought. But anyway, I've learned a lot, I think is what I'm saying. I was maybe overconfident for a boy. Yeah.
I didn't have any confidence at all. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. Nope. I can't do it. Some days I'm like, oh, I can't do it because what is happening? But So we found out we were having a boy. I started to get excited because I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see him. I don't know what we're going to do, but I can't wait to see him. And so my due date which is an estimated date. It was August 7th. I went past August 7th. Y'all, I probably cried every day at the end of July because I just couldn't take it no more.
Yeah.
Like it was so much I couldn't do. And then I started hurting at some period because he was getting so big for my small frame. I started out at 130. I got up to 61. So for my small frame, he was so big and I felt he was so big.
Yeah.
And so August 7th passed. Actually, I had a doctor's appointment and I was like, so we can't do nothing today. She was like, no, because you're not high risk and you one of the ones that can just, float it out. And I'm like, I'm not floating anything out. Like that's
Floating? What's floating?
Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not, I can do a day or two, but I can't do no more than a day or two. And I chose an induction day because I had to be induced. And it was August 10th that I chose today. And so I just remember we had an induction date. It was 4 a.m. So we had to be there. We got up at 4 a.m. We had to be there at 5:30. And so we made it there. Everything went smooth. We cleaned the apartment for him. We was ready for him. I remember even getting new furniture. It was a whole nesting experience going on with me. Everything was lined up for Dawson. Pampers, wipes, clothes, like everything. And so we got up that morning and got dressed, got ready. I was probably like 3 centimeters and I got induced. And then at some point she was like, he's not coming. So he wasn't doing anything. I got up to about 6 centimeters where he just completely stopped wanting to come vaginally. And she was like, your 12 o'clock is not like soft enough for him to come through. And I'm like, what is 12 o'clock?
That's what I'm about to ask you.
I've never heard that.
What is 12 o'clock? I still don't know what 12 o'clock is. And I was in the mind frame because I'm a Google girl and I was not in the mind frame of even Googling it at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever 12 o'clock is, you know what, Dawson, at this point, whatever. So she knew ultimately I did not want a cesarean. So when she came back in around 6 p.m. evening time and she was like, looks like we're going to have to do that. My water did not break. She had to break my water on her own. Like Dawson was not trying to budge.
What was your experience of having to hear that information and accept, okay, I'm going to have to do this the way I really didn't want to do this?
I cried. I cried. I said a little prayer. And I just was like, I don't think God would leave me. Have me to go this far to just leave me. That was one of my biggest fears was the cesarean because I don't know how, like I've never had any type of surgery. So when she came back in and she just was like, yeah, we're gonna have to prepare for a cesarean. No, she gave me a little bit more time. She said, if I come back in the next 2 hours and nothing happens, then we have to go with the cesarean because then he will potentially like wrap his neck around the cord. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no, that's traumatic. Nobody wants that. And so he wasn't doing anything. It's 9:30 p.m. at night. Mind you, I came in at 5 o'clock in the morning and still no baby. So they prepared me for the cesarean and I was so nervous. I told those people I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I couldn't see. I was just making up all types of stuff because of the nerves. And I have some really good people in there. Whoever works with her, they did an amazing job with me. I can honestly say that the experience was traumatic, but they did an amazing job with me because he came out in, I think, a minute. I didn't even feel anything or know what was happening down there. Well, I knew I was getting cut.
I know.
I
Oh, it's
did
such
not
a
want that.
bizarre feeling, like when you're numb, like you
Something's
know
happening.
there's like some serious pain happening in another part of your body, but you're disconnected from it. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, I was trying to make myself go to sleep, and I remember Davario being like right there in my face. He was like, he's here, and it felt like I had just laid down, and I was like, okay, like I still didn't know how to feel. So truthfully, I felt a disconnect. I felt a disconnect, and I felt like I was wrong for feeling the disconnect because this girl, you carried the baby for 9 months, a little over that, but I guess I had the thought of the nurses just plowing him on my chest after the vaginal, and then that's when the connection would come. But I didn't get that. I didn't hold him right after the cesarean either, because I started to throw up.
Oh.
And then I think I was throwing up because I didn't have anything on my stomach.
And all the medicine, all the numbing medicine.
Yeah, so I didn't really, he came at 10:15 that night. I wanted to. I remember calling Davario over because he was feeding him, and I wanted to hold him, but I kept going in and out, in and out, in and out.
Jeez.
So I didn't really get to experience Dawson until the next day.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
And also like really common feeling of that guilt of there's all this build up to this moment that you picture in your head, and you're like preparing for these big feelings, and you're already going through a traumatic experience. And then on top of that, not getting the reward for the trauma, not getting the reward for that. Yeah. The prize, the setting on the chest, the weeping, the beautiful moment that the images have been like swirling in your head, and instead you're just, what's wrong with me?
Yeah. Or just like the wide array of feelings that somebody can feel, and not having any way to prepare for what thing is going to be your
what the
experience.
outcome's going to be.
Yeah. I seen everybody like to the side he was on FaceTime with his mom and my mom. I do remember his sister because she did live here for a minute. She was up there, and they were just, oh my God. And I'm just sitting there.
Yeah, it's weird watching other people experience what you're like, that's what my experience was supposed to be. I'm the one that did this whole thing, and I'm not even getting that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's confusing. Yeah.
And then...
Did you sleep that night? You said you'd not until the next morning, or were you able to sleep, or were you just sick the whole night, or what was that like?
So the medicine, I think it was the epidural, had me itching.
Oh, yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah, pain medicine.
I had to call in a couple of nurses throughout the night to just scratch my legs.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to have Davario to do it, but he was asleep. He was asleep. If I had strength, I probably would have threw some pillows at him. But he was asleep. So I was like, they're nurses. They're working. It's their job. Come over here and...
Can I bring 2 of these home with me, please? Can 2 of you nurses
Please
leave with me?
Please and thank you. I was determined to truthfully get out the hospital because it's just so much going on. I know a lot of people look at cesareans like in a bad way. I did not want it at all. I was just so grateful because I'm an African American woman, and I know the mortality rate. And I was, the nerves, the fear, the agony. It was crazy on me. And just to make it out, I was so grateful. At that point, what I missed from Dawson, I was embracing because he was healthy. And I was like, you know what? I didn't experience it, but he's so healthy. And I can't fathom. So they come in and they still press on you when you have a cesarean.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Yeah, they come in and they still press on you. So they was doing some pressing. And at this point, I'm like, is this legal? Or do y'all just want to just do something? Like, I literally just had a cesarean and y'all are pressing on the cut. Like,
It's awful.
And so apparently it's legal. Apparently.
You Googled it.
And so they also want you to walk. Now, that is the difficult part with a cesarean, But I was really ready to walk. I was like, okay, come on, I know this is going to hurt. I remember walking that same night. Mm-hmm. I walked from the bed to the bathroom. It wasn't like a crazy distance, but it was a couple of steps from the bed to the bathroom, and then walking back. And then I really walked the hall the next day. Women with cesareans, they have to stay in for 2 to 3 days. Mm-hmm. But I begged them for me to leave. Didn't know why. I wanted to be comfortable. Yes, I do. I wanted to be comfortable at home because I knew everything was clean, everything was organized, everything was put away. I just knew everything would probably flow better if we're at the house. Mm-hmm. So I had to show them, hey, I can walk. I can really do this. So we were about to get discharged, and the midwife came in and she assessed some things, and he ended up getting a notification on his phone from Mount Juliet. And so he said that, actually, I'm going too far. So my mom and brother and sister was in town. They were out there toward Mount Juliet on the way to Publix to pick up a cake for Dawson. And then after that, they was going to go home with us. I remember my brother calling Davario, telling him, hey, I see like a gulf of smoke, and it looks like it's coming from where y'all live. And so we're like, really? We didn't get any alert or whatever. Davario get Mount Juliet alerts to his phone about whatever is going on in the community, whether it's good or bad. He get those alerts. And next thing, he did get an alert, and he said that it was the apartments, but it was another building. Mm-hmm. And so we didn't really think anything of it. It was like, wow, now this day was storming. It was raining really bad. So we didn't think anything of it. We're like, okay, wow, I just hope everybody is safe. We didn't know the magnitude of the fire or whatever was happening in that certain building. And so at this point, I was getting discharged. Like, I had the discharge papers for Dawson and I. He was on his way down to the truck to get the car seat. And so I'm assuming he got another alert while on his way back up. And I just seen him coming through the hospital door, and he was sad. And I was like, what's going on? What's wrong? And so he didn't want to tell me at all. And so I'm like, what? Is it bad? It gotta be something bad. And so he was like, it's bad. And so he started crying, and I knew it was bad. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, the building that they said burned down was not that building. It was building 400. That was the building that we were in. And I'm burned down a little bit or burned down.
Clarify, please.
Like all the way down to the ground. And he was like, I think it's gone. So at this point, we had no pictures. We had nothing but just words from the alert app. So I'm like, okay. I still want to know the magnitude of it being burned. Is it just,
I need to I need to see it. I need
to see something. So
the next step, how do you?
He had a friend that also lived over there that he grew up with in Memphis, and I think they both went to the same high school. And they were moving. They were also out of town. And they heard about it too, and they thought it was their building. It was a lot of confusion around how many buildings got burned that day, was burned down. So all in all, everybody building was up and standing except for ours. Like from the third floor to the bottom floor, it was like demolished.
Wow.
And how many floors are there? 4?
1, 2, I think it was 4.
How long was it till you learned like the breadth of how terrible the fire was? Like that everything was truly, like it was complete?
The next day. The next day.
Did y'all stay at the hospital? Did you end up leaving with your discharge papers, or did you stay longer?
No, we left. We got a hotel. I believe Davario had reached out to Tyler. Shout out to Tyler and his family, and Reed and his family. He reached out to Tyler, and immediately they jumped on it. So like I said, my mother and brother was in town, so they got them a hotel. And so we just went to the hotel, and we didn't know what we was going to do. But it's like, for me, honestly, I couldn't think about tomorrow. I had to think about like right then and there, because I had a newborn baby. Honestly, I was numb.
Yeah.
I was numb. I had a newborn baby. I knew my newborn baby had to eat in the next 3 hours. It was one of those things where I had to take it one day at a time. It forced me to take it one day at a time. So we were at the hotel. We wake up the next morning. I see videos this time. And as I'm watching the video, I'm like, I could have been at home. If I would have had my baby on the 7th, which was his due date, I would have been at home. Not only I would have been at home, my husband would have been at home, my mom would have been there with me, and my niece and my nephew, like, they would have all been there. And I don't know why it worked out the way that it did, with Dawson not coming on the 7th, 8th, or 9th, and ended up coming on the 10th, and me having to stay those days. I don't know, but if he came the 7th, 8th, 9th, we would have been at the house. We would have been at the house. There were people that I got acquainted with in the building. One man, he was in a wheelchair. He lived in that same building on the first floor. Another woman, you can tell she was probably a single parent mother. She had an older kid and 2 younger children. And then it was another lady, and everybody knew I was pregnant because they would see me. And obviously I heard that they were looking for me because they thought I was in the house. And then I started to wonder where the man in the wheelchair was at, because I would see him every morning, and he just so happened to go to the hospital that day too.
Wow.
So he wasn't in the house with the fire. The woman with the children, I don't think she was in the house. And a lot of them was out of town, but it was one man, they had just moved in. He was in the house, and he was deaf in one ear. So I think the story that I heard was they was knocking on the door. He couldn't really quite hear. But just so happened, his brother was visiting that week, and his brother could hear. His brother answered the door. So the man was basically like, it's a fire. You probably want to exit. And they all left. But if the brother wasn't at the house, then the man, he probably wouldn't have heard nothing.
Like so many near misses. But every human was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was started because of lightning, right?
Is that right?
Because of that storm? I feel like that's what.
Or is that what the consensus is, or you're not there and it's uncertain?
I don't believe it, but yeah. They said lightning.
What's your theory?
Oh, yeah. Do you want to share that?
Sure. I think it was we had a lot of problems with the air conditioning system.
Oh.
And just not too long ago, actually, a man was out there working on it. And when I say not too long ago, I mean the same week. He was working on it so many times in 1 week. And I believe that had something to do with the spark.
Gotcha. When do you feel like the reality of what had happened, like, sunk in for you?
I don't think
Still hasn't.
Still waiting on that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still, wow, I cannot. Like, sometimes, because I've never lost everything.
Right.
We lost everything. So a lot of stuff, I don't know. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, where's my, oh, shucks, it's gone, So it still feel fresh.
Yeah, because you can't, like, at one time fathom the things that you have lost. So it's like, could be years where you remember something, a picture or a book, like anything, and have that moment of going, where is, oh, yeah, just all the things you acquired in your life thus far.
That morning, I did not take my wedding ring. So my wedding ring was at the house, but he was able to recover it.
Nice.
We went by, I shedded so many tears because I just couldn't believe that this was literally the only building that just was demolished. The only one. We were talking about moving. We was, because our lease, which ended, it was going to be ended in October. And so I was so comfortable. I was like, no, let's just stay. That'll be too much on me, too much on you. moving with a newborn, let's just stay. But we were forced to move. We were forced to move.
Joy.
Sarah.
Parker started using a booster seat.
Big moves.
Yeah. And his legs sit slanted down. So I put this breakfast box with his eggs and like Cheerios and stuff in it in his lap on the way to school, which is teaching him terrible habits. But I digress. It spilled on the floor. And I tried to clean it up with my at-home like handheld vacuum. And I was just like, I was never a person before we both worked at Camel Express in marketing department. I was never a person who washed my car, and I didn't understand really the value of it. But the vacuums at Camel Express are bananas.
I mean,
and really
for car seat grossness.
Yeah.
And like when you take the car seat off and move it and all the stuff underneath and inside.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
At each of the vacuum bays, we have glass cleaner infused microfiber towels that you can wipe up that stuff that is underneath the seat.
Or inside the cup holder.
Right. And in about, I don't know, in 2.5 minutes you can go through the whole wash. And then in 5 minutes, because of the power of the vacuums at any of the 5 locations in and around Nashville, you can really like clean your whole car. So if you, Momcult listener, would like to get your first wash at Camel Express for free, just text code MOMCULT to 22322 and we'll send you a free wash on us.
And we have a deal going that you can get any unlimited plan for $9.99 for the first month.
For sure, take advantage of that $9.99 deal. If you're not already a member, then do that because it's literally...
You could get like the best wash that they offer for a whole month and then just cancel if you want for $10.
I'm not supposed to say that, but you can. Insider trading, don't...
Yeah,
you can
just
do that.
for the moms.
Don't tell anybody we said that.
They need a break. They need a break where they can find it.
Yeah. But also, you're going to forget, and then you're just going to give us your money next
None
month.
of us are actually going to... None of them are actually going to do it. They've already stopped listening. They've fast-forwarded through this whole ad.
Oh, God.
Y'all had to transition a couple of times in those first couple of months, right? You weren't. You were in like a couple of places straight away. Is that right?
Yes.
Airbnb for a little bit.
Yeah, and being like organized, everything in its place. People, did you set up shop in each one, like each new place?
No, I didn't. I was very uncomfortable in those Airbnbs. I did not want to lay Dawson down. He was so new on those couches and things like that. And we were also forced, but who would want to be forced to hold their newborn all the time, though? Especially when you're a new parent. So we were forced to hold him all the time because we just did not want to put him on those couches. So yeah, we went from one Airbnb. We were probably in the Airbnb for a month, I believe, for a month. And then the second one, we were in there a couple of weeks. Yeah, before we moved.
We talk a lot about moms having trouble accepting help or like the need to accept help because you have to, especially in those really early times. And I feel like you were pushed into having to accept help and
beyond.
Yeah. And how was that?
Accepting help for me was humbling. A lot of times, I think for me, it was a self-awareness moment where I did not know that I'm the one that don't like needing help. I don't like feeling helpless. I don't know. But being in a position and forced to be helped made me humble. Yeah. I had a lot of humility in that moment and still do. I don't know. I enjoy the humility in it of it. I do. It helps me to realize that help is not bad. Help a lot of times when you really do need it is needed, clearly. And so I embraced it from everybody that helped. And I didn't really feel helpless though. I didn't feel helpless. I was more so numb than anything, y'all. Yeah. I was so numb.
Imagine the shock from something like that lasts for a long time.
Yeah, you were already numb before this happened. You're already
seriously.
It's just like the layers of altered reality. Do you feel like you're still in survival mode?
Yes, I do. So when we moved into our new place, the alarm kept going off and on, and my husband took the batteries out of the fire alarm, and I'm like, what are you doing?
It's too soon.
Put those batteries back in their fire alarm. So it just makes me, I sit by exits, like in restaurants. I'm pretty sure people probably already been doing this, but I sit by exits. I have him to be aware if my back is, from the exit to like, all right, when it's time to go, it's time to go. We take it, we going for it, a dash. But yeah, it just, I don't know.
Haven't been able to relax yet?
Not really.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. There's a hypervigilance that comes with being a new mom anyway, and piling that on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that I didn't have your experience, but I also like incorporated things like putting my shoes by the bed in case something did happen and we had to go quickly. So I can't imagine there's like a laundry list of those things that you did to prepare.
Thank you for sharing this story with us. Outside of the trauma of the fire, and strictly speaking about just becoming a new mom, where he is now and looking back, what's been the most unexpected part of becoming a new mom?
So truthfully, being a new mom, you go in not knowing anything. And my mom stayed with me for a week, and then she had to leave. And so a lot of it come from me figuring it out, and I do believe God helping me. Just knowing what to do is scary. But it's like I instantly know what to do. When it comes to Dawson, if he's sick, which he did get sick, he had an ear infection back in May, and I knew he was coming down with something. I told Davario, I was like, oh, he's warmer than usual. He's not, like, something is off. And then the next morning he hit us. His fever was like 105. And so I knew it. Like I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew he was feeling sick, and we got on it in enough time to figure it out and then heal from it. And it's just a lot of stuff that I didn't think I was capable of, just being a new mother, because you see your mother, you see your mom when you are growing up, do the best that she can. And that's how I look. That's the lens I look at from my mom. That's why I have no anger, resentment, or anything from my mom, because I feel like my mom did everything she had to do and needed to do with what she had. That's knowledge wise, that's just any type of resources around her, which were limited. She did what she did, and she did it best, So raising Dawson, I pray, God, show me the way with Dawson, because
because he's a boy.
Because he's a boy. Okay. And just help me along the way. And I just go with my gut.
Because everything's unexpected.
So unexpected. I don't know. I've never been here before. I never had a kid. I never been here before. Siblings, I have a younger sister. She do have 3 kids now, but we're 5 years apart. I'm out the house.
Is there, in this age that he is, in this phase y'all are in now, what do you feel the most guilty about?
Guilty?
Do you feel any guilt in this phase?
I don't really feel any guilt.
I guess we did talk about like the guilt of I want some space.
Oh,
from you.
Okay. If we're going there, I probably said this like 2-3 days ago. I was like, hey, I need to go somewhere. I told my husband, I said, I wish it was somewhere safe in the world that I can just go and just, I don't know, just
do nothing.
Do absolutely nothing. If anything, I would want a massage. But leave y'all for 2 days and then come back and be like, hi. Yeah. How was life?
Yeah. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Happy to see y'all. Looking good.
Yeah, we talk a lot about on the podcast of how important it is for the moms we have to get what we need if we're going to give our kids what they need. And seeking out ways that feels doable and just how hard it is. Because in order for us to do that, we're going to have to be putting somebody else out to get that. And it's never simple. Nothing. Once a baby is here, nothing is simple anymore.
Absolutely nothing.
And that is just a lot to wrap your mind around as a human, of going, okay, I'm gearing up for, I don't know when the next simple thing is going to happen, but it's going to be a minute.
Yeah. When I had Dawson, I struggled with, because I'm into skincare, I like skin. Oh, my skin was crazy. I did not feel like myself. I feel like I lost me. And I'm still trying to figure this thing out, because I look back at my old pictures when I was married and newly married, and I was just like, it just felt like I looked so good. And then I look at a picture now and I'm like, oh girl, you look like a mom. Oh girl, you look like a mom.
That's not what I see, but I hear you.
And I'm trying to embrace that.
Right.
But it's so difficult. It's so difficult for me. It's been a roller coaster for me, because I like fashion, I like clothes, I just like it all. And putting on clothes at the beginning was so difficult for me.
Oh, yeah.
I like makeup. And so, of course, I lost my whole makeup bag in the fire. So I had to start all over again.
And makeup is so freaking expensive.
So expensive.
And yeah, you piece it, or for me anyway, you piece it together from like different places and different stuff that you found. Yeah.
I don't want to start over. No.
I had to start over. Am I there yet? No. Am I fine with what I have? Absolutely. I'm so fine with what I have. And so makeup, I found that makeup makes me feel good. So even if I put on a little concealer, because I don't really do foundation every day, if I put on a little concealer, I feel good.
Yeah.
So if I feel good and look good, I'm going to perform well.
Yeah.
Like,
That's good. That's awesome that you are aware of that. I think it's even hard as moms, especially new moms, to figure out what those little things are. Like to have to sit down and go, what makes me feel good? That's something that's simple that, because I'm sure for some moms, it's like looking more together for the day, even if you're just going to be going out to running some errands, like to get out of the sweatpants and out of, which I don't do very often. Sweatpants are just easier.
they are.
So that would be what you do to fill the well or make yourself feel like you. It's makeup and stuff. That's another one of our questions that tends to help people to hear, is how people give back to themselves, how moms give back to themselves, and like the time where you're so depleted.
Yeah, makeup. Just especially if I'm going to church, because that's probably when I will wear it. A little concealer, a nice dress, like actually taking my time. If I'm not going anywhere and my husband is home, I go upstairs, I get on the iPad and I watch Gossip Girls. I binge Gossip Girls, and I don't know how many times I binged Gossip Girls.
Like all the way through?
All the way through.
I did.
Amazing.
Yeah, when Ava was a baby, that was one of the shows I binged just to get through those early, because I was like, oh, there's like a ton of seasons, and I'd never seen it, and so that was one of my one of my outlets was Gossip Girl.
Atlanta Housewives here and there, or Married to Medicine, but Gossip Girls, that's just my thing.
Nice. You can ask the last question, like if the what would you say? Yeah.
Yeah, if you could give new moms listening a piece of advice, is there anything in particular you would say to them?
I seen this question and I struggled with this question.
Because you're still so deep in
I
it.
am so deep. Like, I don't know what I would tell new moms. I don't know.
I feel like what I've learned about you today is you have a really beautiful ability to reframe and find the gratitude in all of your experiences, like the up and the down, all of them. It seems like you have in your perspective and your ability to look at something and then go, okay, this is what this is, like the self-awareness. That's really amazing.
And
I admire that a lot.
Yeah, I have two things that is very close to my heart. So if it's any type of wisdom, it's a scripture that I just hold near. And it says, in a day of adversity, if you faint, your strength is made small. And so with every little thing, I don't want to think this is the final ending. This is not the end of the story. This is maybe the end of the chapter, but not the end of the story. And then it's a quote from Tom McCollin, and it's life is understood backwards while moving forward. And so while you're moving forward in life, or there are things that are going to happen, like the fire. No, I don't understand the fire. I don't understand why the fire had to happen to me or the other people. I don't understand that. But as I live and as I go through the day, and then time passed me by, like months and years, I begin to understand probably why it happened. Probably happened because we needed to move, but I didn't want to move. So yeah, I love the quote so much. I just hope I said it right.
Didn't butcher
It
it.
sounded like you did.
Yeah,
That
I
sounded
wouldn't
good.
question it.
Life's understood backwards while going forwards. Angelique, thank you so much for your time. Do you want to share any social
Yes.
media or anything? Okay, go.
No.
Oh, go, please. Go ahead. You got something. Go,
Let me say the quote again. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward. So yeah, that's just something, it made so much sense to me.
Yeah.
When I first read it, I was like, hold on, he up to something.
Yeah, at some
This-
point, you'll have
this is-
perspective. Yeah.
But my social media, I don't do anything on social media. But my Instagram is 2_a Parson, Parson. Yeah.
And we're looking forward to your videos and stuff.
Yeah,
and
your YouTube
we'll
channel.
share those
You're gonna
whenever you're
start.
You
ready.
know what? I want to do so much. It's videos, it's home decor, it's styling some people if I can, if I ever have the opportunity to do. It's so much in the creative realm. Yeah.
And I feel like we're more, I don't know. I know we complain a lot and we talk about how hard it is. And I just want to affirm you that those things are going to happen. And like, you are going to feel back in your body. You are going to be able to wear the clothes you want to wear. Obviously it just takes time. It's just so hard when you're deep in it, but you'll get to come out and take that breath. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm me again. It'll be a different version of you, but at least what I've found is it's a better version of me. It's actually more on point with who I really am and who I want to be, because you're forced to take that downtime and be like, what? It just makes you get really hyper focused on like, how can I be the best, happiest version of me for my children? And so, yeah, I feel as a mom, like you're gonna find it.
Yeah, he's one. I read that getting back to normal can take between 4 and 7 years, which freaked me out. But also I was like, yeah, I remember something clicking in. I just like, I don't know, that feeling where you go, oh, something clicked in, and he's 5 now, but he was 4. And I was like, I remember that. That's me. There was me. That there was something that clicked like a film.
Yeah.
That was over.
Yeah.
And it's a long time, and different things come in phases, and everybody's experience is different, and blah, blah, blah. But
4 to 7. Wow.
yeah, hormones, I think, was
just
the
thinking,
thing they
like,
were saying.
What if I have another kid?
Oh gosh, I know.
I'm embracing this me though.
Yeah.
I think it's imperative that I do. Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Yes, I really
so
like your
very
optimism. It's
Thank
good.
you.
And thank you for being here. Thank you guys for listening.
You can follow us at Momcult Podcast, and you can listen at themomcultpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can rate us on wherever people rate stuff. And thank you so much for listening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.